Let me tell you about Arya Matsushita, CEO of one of Asia's leading quantum computing firms. At exactly 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday morning in 2019, she received the message that would shatter everything she'd built over 2 decades. Their revolutionary quantum processor, just days before its historic launch, had shown catastrophic instability. Early tests revealed fundamental flaws in their core technology. By sunrise, their $8.2 billion valuation had evaporated. That morning, as she stood in her laboratory overlooking the Tokyo skyline, a reporter asked her, "Does this mark the end of quantum supremacy?" She looked at the failing quantum processor, its blue light still pulsing weakly, and replied, "No, this marks the beginning of something extraordinary." The room fell silent. 3 years later, that catastrophic failure had transformed her company into the world's pioneer in quantum error correction, revolutionizing the entire field of quantum computing. The very flaw that should have destroyed them became the key to solving the industry's greatest challenge. I share this story because right now, in this room, many of you are facing your own 3:47 a.m. moment. Perhaps it's not a quantum computing crisis. Maybe it's a startup failing after years of sacrifice, a career-ending mistake, a devastating investment loss, or a revolutionary idea that just imploded. You're standing at that window, looking out at your own skyline, wondering if this is where your story ends. But today, I'm going to reveal something powerful. What you're calling a crisis is actually a portal to transformation. The same portal that every breakthrough innovation, every revolutionary discovery, every transformative change in human history has walked through. Consider this. SpaceX was on the brink of bankruptcy after 3 failed rocket launches, with enough money for just one final attempt. Tesla nearly collapsed in 2008, securing a life-saving investment literally hours before bankruptcy. ARM Holdings, now powering billions of devices, emerged from a failed computer company that had lost its entire market. The pattern is clear, but few recognize it. Crisis doesn't just precede transformation, it precipitates it. This isn't motivational theory, it's a law of nature as reliable as gravity. Either you understand this law and use it, or it uses you. Look around you. Every person who has ever achieved anything significant can point to their 3:47 a.m. moment. That crisis that seemed like the end, but proved to be their beginning. The difference between those who emerge stronger and those who remain broken isn't in the size of their crisis. It's in their understanding of what crisis really represents. Today, I'm going to share with you the laws that govern transformation through crisis. Laws that Arya discovered in that quantum laboratory. Laws that every successful pioneer has stumbled upon, usually by accident. Laws that you can begin applying today in whatever crisis you're facing. Because here's the truth, the size of your crisis directly correlates to the size of your opportunity. The greater the pressure, the greater the potential transformation. What you're calling your breaking point is actually your breakthrough point. Let me share something profound about the nature of crisis that most never realize. Crisis isn't random. It follows precise patterns, predictable laws that govern how transformation occurs. Understanding these patterns changes everything about how you view your challenges. Consider what happens when an earthquake strikes. On the surface, we see destruction. Buildings fall, ground shifts, chaos reigns. But beneath the surface, something remarkable occurs. The Earth's tectonic plates aren't being destroyed, they're being realigned. This realignment, though violent on the surface, is actually creating new landscapes, new mountains, new valleys. What appears as destruction is actually creation in progress. This is exactly how personal crisis works. When your life experiences an earthquake, whether it's a business failure, a career setback, or a personal loss, what's really happening isn't destruction, it's realignment. The foundations of your life aren't being destroyed. They're being reorganized for something greater. Think about Arya's quantum computing crisis. On the surface, it appeared as pure destruction. Billions in value vanished, years of work invalidated, dreams shattered. But at a deeper level, something else was happening. The crisis wasn't destroying their work. It was revealing a fundamental truth about quantum computing that would have remained hidden in comfortable conditions. This reveals the first profound truth about crisis. It exposes what comfort conceals. In times of stability, we can maintain illusions. We can ignore fundamental flaws. We can postpone necessary changes. Crisis strips away this luxury. It forces us to confront reality in its raw, unfiltered form. But here's where most people misunderstand crisis. They see it as something to endure, to survive, to get through. They miss entirely that crisis is actually nature's mechanism for upgrade. Just as a caterpillar must enter crisis, literally dissolving inside its cocoon to become a butterfly, human beings require crisis to evolve beyond their current limitations. The second truth about crisis is even more profound. The size of your crisis directly correlates to the size of your potential transformation. Small crises lead to small changes. Major crises contain the potential for major evolution. When you understand this, you stop asking, why is this crisis so big? And start asking, what size transformation is trying to emerge in my life? Let me share something I've observed working with leaders and organizations worldwide. Those who emerge stronger from crisis aren't necessarily the ones with more resources, more talent, or more luck. They're the ones who understand the nature of crisis at a fundamental level. They recognize that crisis creates conditions that comfort never can. Think about diamonds. They don't form in comfortable conditions. They require intense pressure, extreme heat, and absolute darkness. The same pressure that can crush carbon into dust can also transform it into one of the hardest substances in nature. The difference isn't in the pressure. It's in the carbon's capacity to transform under pressure. This brings us to the third truth about crisis. Your capacity to transform through crisis isn't fixed, it's learned. Just as a weightlifter develops the ability to handle heavier weights through progressive resistance, you develop the ability to transform through crisis by understanding its nature and working with its principles rather than against them. Remember, crisis isn't your enemy, it's your evolutionary catalyst. The pressure you're feeling isn't punishment, it's nature's transformative force at work. The question isn't whether you'll face crisis. The question is whether you'll recognize it for what it really is. Your doorway to extraordinary transformation. Let me share with you the immutable laws that govern transformation through crisis, laws as reliable as gravity, as consistent as the seasons. Understanding these laws changes everything about how you navigate challenges. The first is the law of catalytic pressure. In chemistry, a catalyst is something that accelerates a reaction that would normally take years to occur naturally. Crisis acts as nature's catalyst. Consider what happened at Aria's quantum computing lab. That catastrophic failure accelerated their understanding of quantum error correction by a decade. The pressure of imminent collapse forced innovations that comfort would have never produced. This law states that pressure doesn't just facilitate change, it accelerates evolution. The second law is what I call the law of productive resistance. Think about how an airplane takes flight. It's actually the resistance of the air against the wings that creates lift. Without that resistance, flight would be impossible. In human terms, resistance isn't your enemy. It's the force that enables your rise. Those who understand this law stop avoiding resistance and start utilizing it. This brings us to the third law, the law of selective destruction. Nature never destroys without purpose. When a forest fire burns through a woodland, it appears catastrophic. But that fire is actually clearing dead undergrowth, releasing seeds that only germinate under intense heat and creating space for new growth. Similarly, crisis destroys what needs to end so that what needs to begin can emerge. The fourth law is the law of adaptive reconstruction. After every crisis, systems don't just rebuild, they rebuild better. Look at how cities reconstruct after earthquakes. The new buildings aren't just replicas of what fell. They're stronger, more resilient, better adapted to withstand future shocks. This law states that true transformation isn't about returning to normal. It's about adapting to a new and better normal. Then there's the law of exponential returns. This law states that the potential return from a crisis is exponentially larger than the apparent loss. When Aria's quantum computer failed, they didn't just lose a product, they gained insights that transformed the entire industry. The return wasn't linear, one loss, one gain. It was exponential, one loss, industry-wide transformation. The sixth law is the law of forced innovation. Crisis removes the luxury of conventional solutions. When traditional approaches fail, innovation becomes the only option for survival. Think about how remote work transformed from a fringe concept to a global standard when conventional offices became impossible. Crisis forces innovations that comfort postpones. Finally, there's the law of transformative preparation. This law states that every crisis prepares you for a level of opportunity you couldn't have handled before. The skills you develop, the resilience you build, the insights you gain, these aren't just about surviving the present crisis. They're preparation for opportunities that only become visible after transformation. These laws work in concert, creating a symphony of transformation. They operate whether you understand them or not, whether you believe in them or not. But when you understand them, you can work with them rather than against them. You can turn what looks like destruction into directed transformation. Remember, these aren't theoretical constructs. They're natural principles that govern how transformation occurs. Just as understanding the laws of aerodynamics doesn't make flight easier, but makes it possible, understanding these laws doesn't make crisis easier. It makes transformation possible. Let me share with you a fundamental truth about transformation. Your mindset isn't just part of the transformation, it is the transformation. Everything you're experiencing right now is being filtered through the lens of your current mindset. Change that lens and everything changes. Consider two individuals facing identical crises. One sees it as punishment, the other as preparation. One focuses on what they're losing, the other on what they're learning. One asks, "Why me?" while the other asks, "What's next?" Same crisis, radically different experiences, entirely because of mindset. The first shift you must make is from victim to creator. When Aria stood in that quantum lab watching billions in value evaporate, she had a choice. She could see herself as a victim of technological failure or as the creator of a new breakthrough. That single mental shift changed everything that followed. Here's a powerful truth. In any crisis, you're either creating your future or protecting your past. Most people instinctively try to preserve what was, to return to normal, to restore the familiar. But transformation isn't about restoring the old, it's about creating the new. The caterpillar doesn't try to become a better caterpillar. It transforms into something entirely different. The second crucial shift involves your relationship with uncertainty. In stable times, uncertainty feels threatening. But in times of transformation, uncertainty is actually your ally. Think about it. If you could clearly see your path forward, someone else would have already taken it. True breakthroughs require venturing into unknown territory. This brings us to perhaps the most important mental shift: understanding temporary pain versus permanent potential. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs, but those who understand transformation recognize that temporary pain is the price of permanent growth. The quantum computing breakthrough required embracing the pain of public failure. The butterfly must struggle against the cocoon to develop the strength for flight. You must also shift how you view time during transformation. Most people want instant results, quick fixes, immediate relief, but true transformation operates on nature's timeline, not our preferences. Just as a seed can't be rushed into becoming a tree, transformation has its own natural rhythm. Understanding this helps you stop fighting the timeline and start working with it. Another critical shift involves your definition of success. During transformation, traditional metrics often become obstacles. Revenue, status, approval, these conventional measures may actually need to decline temporarily for real transformation to occur. You need new metrics that measure growth, adaptation, and evolution rather than just maintenance of the status quo. The final and perhaps most subtle shift involves your relationship with your former self. Many resist transformation because they're too attached to who they used to be. But just as a butterfly can't fulfill its potential while clinging to its caterpillar identity, you can't step into your next level while holding on to your previous self. Remember, your mindset isn't just how you think. It's the operating system through which you experience reality. Upgrade the operating system, and everything running on it changes. This isn't positive thinking, it's transformative thinking. And transformative thinking always precedes transformative results. Let me walk you through the precise stages that every transformational journey must navigate. Understanding these stages is crucial because each one requires different strategies, different mindsets, and different approaches. The first stage is recognition and acceptance. This is where most transformations fail before they begin. In Aria's quantum computing crisis, recognition meant acknowledging not just the surface failure, but the deeper reality it revealed about their entire approach to quantum error correction. Acceptance doesn't mean liking the crisis. It means acknowledging it as your current reality, and more importantly, as your gateway to transformation. During this stage, you must develop what I call transformational awareness. This means seeing both the visible crisis and the invisible opportunity it contains. Think of it like an archaeologist who doesn't just see a mound of dirt, but recognizes it as the cover for potentially priceless artifacts. Your crisis isn't just a problem to solve, it's a doorway to walk through. The second stage is assessment and analysis. This is where you move beyond emotional reaction to strategic evaluation. You must ask, what exactly is this crisis revealing? What systems are breaking down? What assumptions are being challenged? What possibilities are being created? This stage requires brutal honesty. You can't transform what you don't acknowledge. During assessment, you must look not just at what's broken, but why it broke. Surface problems always have deeper roots. The quantum computing failure wasn't just about technical malfunction. It revealed fundamental limitations in their entire approach to quantum stability. Finding these deeper patterns is crucial for true transformation. The third stage is strategic response. This is where you begin designing your transformation pathway. But here's the key. You're not trying to solve the crisis. You're trying to evolve beyond it. There's a crucial difference. Problem solving seeks to restore the old normal. Transformation creates a new normal that makes the old problems irrelevant. In this stage, you must develop what I call transformational architecture, the blueprint for your evolution. This includes identifying what must end, what must begin, what must be preserved, and what must be transformed. You're not just planning changes, you're designing evolution. The fourth stage is implementation and adaptation. This is where theory meets reality, where plans encounter resistance, where strategies get tested by real-world conditions. This stage requires what I call adaptive persistence, the ability to maintain your transformational direction while adjusting your specific tactics based on feedback. During implementation, you must balance two seemingly contradictory needs: the need for consistent action and the need for constant adaptation. Think of it like navigating a ship through a storm. You maintain your destination while constantly adjusting your sail to the changing winds. The final stage is integration and growth. This is where transformation becomes your new normal. The changes you've implemented aren't just external actions anymore. They've become part of your identity, your operating system, your natural way of being. But here's the crucial understanding. This isn't the end. It's just your new starting point for the next level of transformation. Integration requires what I call transformational momentum, the ability to maintain your evolution even after the immediate crisis has passed. Most people relax once the pressure eases. Those who understand transformation recognize that maintaining momentum during comfortable times is crucial for handling the next crisis. Remember, these stages aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical roadmaps for navigating your transformation journey. Miss any stage, try to skip ahead, or fail to complete one fully, and your transformation will be incomplete. Master them all, and crisis becomes your catalyst for extraordinary evolution. Let me share with you the essential tools that will amplify your ability to transform through crisis. These aren't physical tools, but powerful mental and emotional instruments that turn pressure into progress. The first tool is emotional mastery. Think about a master surgeon performing a complex operation. Their hands remain steady even when complications arise. Why? Because they've learned to separate emotional response from strategic action. During crisis, your emotions will surge. Fear, uncertainty, anger, doubt. Emotional mastery isn't about suppressing these feelings. It's about preventing them from hijacking your decisions. Consider what happened in that quantum computing lab. When billions in value evaporated overnight, panic was the natural response. But panic never produces innovation. Emotional mastery allowed Aria's team to move beyond the immediate emotional trauma and access their deeper creative capabilities. They learned to use their emotions as information rather than instructions. The second crucial tool is strategic thinking. In crisis, most people become reactive, responding to each problem as it appears. Strategic thinking means seeing patterns instead of just problems, understanding systems instead of just situations. It's like the difference between treating symptoms and curing the disease. Strategic thinking helps you identify leverage points where small actions can produce massive transformations. Resource optimization becomes your third essential tool. During crisis, it's easy to focus on what you lack. But transformation requires mastering the art of leveraging what you have. Think about how nature operates. Nothing is wasted, everything is repurposed. That quantum computing failure wasn't just a loss, it was data. The public embarrassment wasn't just shame, it was pressure that forced innovation. The fourth tool is what I call support system engineering. Notice I don't just say having support. I mean deliberately designing systems that amplify your transformative capacity. This includes mentors who've navigated similar transformations, peers who understand your journey, and environments that nurture growth. During crisis, your support system isn't just emotional comfort, it's structural reinforcement for your transformation. Perhaps the most crucial tool is progress measurement. But here's the key: you must measure the right things. Traditional metrics often become obsolete during transformation. When Aria's team shifted their focus from quantum computing performance to error correction, they needed entirely new ways to measure progress. Your measurements must evolve as you evolve. Think of these tools like a master craftsman's instruments. Each has its specific purpose, its perfect timing, its unique application. Using the wrong tool at the wrong time can be as problematic as having no tools at all. But when you master these tools, when you learn to apply them with precision and purpose, you gain the ability to shape crisis into opportunity, to mold pressure into progress. These tools work synergistically. Emotional mastery creates the clarity needed for strategic thinking. Strategic thinking optimizes resource utilization. Support systems maintain momentum when individual energy flags. Progress measurements guide the entire process. Together, they form a transformational technology that turns crisis from something you survive into something you harness. Remember, tools amplify capability. The greatest tool in the world can't replace purpose, commitment, or vision, but when you combine the right tools with the right mindset and the right understanding, you create the conditions for extraordinary transformation. The most critical phase of any transformation is learning to navigate through it. Let me share with you the sophisticated understanding required to move through transformation with purpose rather than just surviving it. First, understand that resistance isn't just natural, it's necessary. When you begin any significant transformation, you'll encounter 3 levels of resistance. The first comes from within, your own doubts, fears, and attachments to the familiar. The second comes from your immediate environment, people who are invested in you staying the same. The third comes from the systems and structures that were built for your old reality. This is where most transformations stall. People interpret resistance as evidence they're on the wrong path. But consider the quantum computing breakthrough. The resistance they encountered, technical failures, market skepticism, public criticism, wasn't signaling failure. It was highlighting the exact areas that needed transformation. Resistance doesn't just test your commitment. It reveals your path forward. Maintaining momentum through transformation requires what I call strategic persistence. This isn't just about pushing forward blindly. It's about maintaining your transformational direction while constantly adjusting your specific tactics based on feedback. Think of it like climbing a mountain in fog. You know your destination is upward, but your exact path may need constant adjustment based on the terrain you encounter. Fear during transformation isn't just an emotion, it's information. When Aria's team faced the quantum computing crisis, fear highlighted exactly what they needed to understand better, what systems they needed to strengthen, what assumptions they needed to challenge. Fear isn't telling you to stop. It's showing you where to focus. Creating sustainable change requires understanding the difference between forced change and facilitated transformation. Forced change relies on willpower and external pressure. It's exhausting and usually temporary. Facilitated transformation works with natural principles, allowing change to emerge organically through altered conditions. It's sustainable because it's aligned with natural laws. The key to navigating transformation lies in what I call transformational momentum. This isn't just about moving forward, it's about creating conditions where moving backward becomes impossible. When a rocket launches, it must reach escape velocity to break free from Earth's gravity. Similarly, your transformation needs to generate enough momentum to break free from the gravitational pull of old patterns. Remember, navigation isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about leveraging them for transformation. Every obstacle you encounter isn't blocking your path. It's part of your path. Every resistance you face isn't opposing your transformation. It's facilitating it. Every fear you experience isn't warning you to stop. It's guiding you to grow. The breakthrough moment isn't the end of transformation. It's the beginning of your next evolution. Let me share with you how to capitalize on breakthrough in a way that turns momentary success into lasting transformation. Most people celebrate too early. They mistake a breakthrough for a destination. The quantum computing team's initial breakthrough in error correction wasn't their destination, it was their launching pad. The real opportunity wasn't in solving one problem, but in revolutionizing an entire industry's approach to quantum stability. Here's a crucial understanding. Breakthrough creates capability, but capability without direction dissipates. Think about what happens when a rocket breaks through Earth's atmosphere. That breakthrough moment doesn't guarantee reaching its destination. It only creates the conditions that make the destination possible. The team must still navigate, still adjust, still maintain momentum. The first key to capitalizing on breakthrough is immediate expansion. The moment you break through to a new level, you must expand your vision to match your new capability. Most people let their vision lag behind their breakthrough. They achieve something significant but continue operating with pre-breakthrough thinking. Your vision must evolve as rapidly as your capability. The second key is what I call strategic acceleration. Breakthrough moments create unique conditions. Resources become available, doors open, opportunities emerge. But these conditions are temporary. You must have systems ready to capitalize on them immediately. When Aria's team achieved their breakthrough, they didn't pause to celebrate. They immediately began applying their insights to other quantum computing challenges. Understanding the compound effect of breakthrough is crucial. Every real breakthrough creates multiple opportunities, not just one. The quantum computing breakthrough didn't just solve their immediate crisis. It created new possibilities in quantum error correction, quantum memory stability, and quantum network reliability. Those who truly capitalize on breakthrough look for these cascade effects. This is where you establish new patterns that make old problems obsolete. You're not just operating at a higher level. You're operating in an entirely new paradigm. The problems that seemed insurmountable before become irrelevant, not because you solved them, but because you've evolved beyond them. Remember, breakthrough isn't an ending, it's an initiation. It's not a peak to rest on, it's a platform to launch from. The real opportunity isn't in what you've just achieved, it's in what that achievement now makes possible. Let me share a final truth that will transform how you see this moment. The opportunity before you isn't just about surviving a crisis or achieving a breakthrough. It's about becoming someone who transforms every crisis into breakthrough. Look around you. Every major innovation, every revolutionary change, every transformative discovery came from someone who stood exactly where you stand now. They faced their crisis moment, their quantum computing failure, their apparent disaster. The only difference between those who created breakthroughs and those who succumbed to crisis was their understanding of what that moment represented. Your crisis isn't random, it's not punishment, it's not even a test. It's an invitation to evolve beyond your current limitations, to transform beyond your present capabilities, to become someone who operates at a level that makes your current problems obsolete. The question isn't whether you have the capacity to transform, you do. The question isn't whether your crisis contains opportunity, it does. The only question that matters is, will you accept the invitation that this moment presents? Starting today, make these commitments. Stop seeing your crisis as something happening to you and recognize it as something happening for you. Don't wait for conditions to improve. Use current conditions to evolve. Don't pray for easier challenges. Develop greater capacity. Begin applying the laws of transformation immediately. Remember, these laws work whether you understand them or not, whether you believe in them or not. The only question is whether they'll work for you or against you. Most importantly, recognize that this moment, right now, is your quantum breakthrough point. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, not when you feel ready, now. The world is waiting for what will emerge from your transformation. Your crisis isn't your enemy, it's your evolutionary catalyst. Your pressure isn't your problem, it's your potential. Because the size of your crisis isn't just measuring your challenge, it's measuring your opportunity. And that opportunity begins now.